The epic of creation describes how the solar system came to be and how the 12th member, Nibiru, was thrust into an elongated orbit around the Sun. It was on this planet, the Sumerians believed, that the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came, originated. Zechariah Sitchin, the 12th planet.
In the days of old, when the firmaments of the heavens were young, there was a distant world called Nibiru, set among the stars by the hand of the Almighty. The hand of creation moved upon the face of Nibiru, and the seed of wisdom was planted therein, and from the dust mighty ones arose. The Nibiruans grew in strength and in knowledge, their days stretching beyond count, their minds fashioned with wisdom beyond measure. With the workings of great devices and the secrets of the cosmos laid before them, the Nibiruans rose to great heights, their cities reaching unto the sky and their vessels traversing the void between the worlds. Yet though they were rich in wisdom and mighty in strength, their hearts were troubled, for they were not freed from the burdens of strife and sorrow. Pride and envy, wrath and despair clung to them, as the dust of the earth clings to the feet of the wanderer. And thus, though they grew in stature and power, their hearts remained bound by the chains of their own making. And it came to pass, as the years of Nibiru waxed great in number, that the watchmen of the heavens beheld a troubling sight, for the firmament that shielded their world began to wither as a garment worn with age, and the breath of the land grew faint. And the wise among them, the keepers of knowledge and the masters of craft, spake unto the rulers of Nibiru, saying, Behold, the veil of the sky is torn asunder, and the light of the sun scorches the land. The cold of the void creeps ever near. Know ye not that our days are numbered, lest we mend the heavens above? And the rulers of Nibiru trembled, for the doom of their world lay upon them. Then spake the sages, saying, Gold, the most precious of metals, can seal the wounds of the firmament. Let it be scattered as a mist upon the heights, that the breath of Nibiru be restored, and the world be made whole again. But great was the sorrow of the people, for the gold of Nibiru was spent, its veins drawn empty, and its stores left barren. In the days of old, when Nibiru was in its fullness, the land was rich with treasure, and gold was abundant upon its face. The Anunnaki, the mighty ones who walked among the stars, knew of the hidden power within the gold, the secret gift placed therein by the hand of the Creator. They took the gold, not for adornment alone, nor for the works of craft, but for the sustenance of their very being. For they did refine it into the sacred form, the ormus, the monatomic essence, which they did consume as the elixir of life. And great was its power, for it renewed the body and strengthened the spirit, it healed the flesh, and extended the days of those who partook of it. And thus did the Anunnaki grow mighty, their years stretched beyond measure, their wisdom deep as the waters of the abyss. But as the ages passed, and the mighty ones consumed of the sacred substance, the gold of Nibiru grew scarce, its veins depleted, its reserves diminished. And the cry of the rulers arose, saying, Where shall we find that which is not among us? Whither shall we go to gather that which our land can no longer provide? And the elders of Nibiru gathered in solemn council, for the days were dark, and the heavens grew thin. And they spake one to another, saying, There is but one path remaining unto us, that we seek the gold beyond our own land, to cast it into the sky as a shield against the perils of the void. Then the mighty ones among them, the rulers and the sages, spake, saying, We shall send forth our chariots of fire into the heavens, to the great belt of shattered stones, that we may gather gold and restore our world. And the craftsmen of Nibiru toiled with great skill, fashioning vessels strong and swift, armored against the perils of the void. And they sent forth their ships like arrows loosed from the bow into the midst of the great and terrible expanse, where the remnants of the wounded Tiamat lay scattered. But lo, the wrath of the heavens was great, for the fragments of the sundered world moved as a tempest, swift and unyielding. The chariots of Nibiru were struck down one by one, their mighty forms crushed beneath the weight of the flying stones. In those days, strife and turmoil fell upon the land of Nibiru, for the mighty contended with the mighty, and the rulers of the people waged great wars to claim dominion over one another. Brother rose against brother, and the fields were stained with the blood of the fallen. The cries of the people reached unto the heavens, for there was no peace among the Nibirians. And among the rulers was one named Alulu, mighty in power and great in counsel, yet he was cast down from his throne by those who sought his place. Alulu, knowing his doom was nigh, feared the hand of his enemies, for they sought to bring him low and make him answer for his deeds. And lo, he entered into a vessel of fire, and before any could hinder him, he set his course beyond the bounds of Nibiru unto the vast expanse of the heavens. But before him lay the great and terrible expanse, the sea of shattered stone, the remnants of Tiamat, the sundered world. The Sumerians of old called it the hammered bracelet, for it was as a band of ruin encircling the heavens, filled with stones that moved as warriors in battle, striking all who dared to pass. Alulu, remembering the weapons of old that lay hidden within his vessel, stretched forth his hand and loosed the fire of the ancients. With great thunder and burning wrath, the weapons smote the onrushing stones, shattering them as the staff of a mighty warrior breaks the shield of his foe. The way was cleared before him, and Alulu, the outcast, passed through the hammered bracelet unscathed, his path made straight by the power of destruction. And as he went forth beyond the great expanse, his eyes beheld a world of blue and green, fair and radiant beneath the golden sun. And he spake within himself, saying, Behold, this is the remnant of Tiamat, the sundered one, the world that was divided in ages past. If gold was upon the scattered stones, then surely it must be upon this land, for this is the preserved half, the world of life and water. Alulu set his course, descending from the heavens like a falling star, and his chariot of fire came to rest upon the face of the earth, and thus the first among the Nibiruans set foot upon this mysterious land. Alulu, the exiled one, was alone upon the face of the new world, a wanderer in a land unknown, with none to hear his voice nor answer his call. And he beheld the earth about him, the rivers that flowed as silver, the great trees that swayed with the breath of the wind, and the grasses that covered the land as a garment. And he marveled, for never had his eyes seen such a world so full of life and abundance. And he brought forth a device of wisdom and measure, and set it forth into the air, that it might discern the breath of the new world. And lo, the air was filled with the life-giving essence, the breath that sustains flesh and bone, and Alulu knew that the world was fit for dwelling. Then he set aside his armor of protection, for there was no more need for it, and he stood as a man before the heavens, a stranger who had made one with the land. But the light of the sun was fierce, and its radiance smote his eyes, for the brightness was greater than that which he had known upon Nibiru. Then he took from his vessel coverings for his sight, a shield against the blinding rays, so that he might gaze upon the world without harm. And thus Alulu, the first among his kind to walk the new land, stood upon the earth and beheld the wonders of his new domain. Alulu, the wanderer, walked forth upon the land, and his heart was made glad, for the world was full of wonders beyond his knowing. And he marveled, saying, Lo, The waters bring forth life in abundance. The fish swim as the stars move in the heavens, and their number is without end. And he looked upon the trees, their branches heavy with fruit of every kind. And he reached forth his hand and plucked from them. And he ate, and the sweetness thereof filled his mouth. And he rejoiced, saying, Surely this land is filled with the bounty of heaven, for never have I tasted such delight. And in the midst of the wood there lay a pond, clear as crystal, reflecting the heavens upon its face. Alulu knelt upon the earth and brought his hands to the waters, and he drank deeply, and the coolness of it filled his being. And he laughed. His laughter rang through the forest, for the water was pure and full of life, and he knew that he had found a land where breath and drink were abundant. And he lifted his voice unto the heavens, saying, Blessed is this place, for it is filled with all that is needed. The waters nourish, the air gives life, and the trees bear fruit without end. But the light of day soon waned, and darkness began to spread across the land like a great veil descending from the heavens. Alulu, knowing that he was alone in a world yet full of mysteries, gathered the fruits of the trees and the water of the pond, and made haste to return unto his chariot. And thus, with the bounty of the land in his hands, he entered once more into his vessel, and he sealed himself within, for the night had come upon the earth. And as Alulu sat within his chariot, resting from the labours of the day, his eyes were drawn unto the heavens, where a great and glowing orb arose in the night sky. And he marvelled, for it was a lesser light, pale and silent, yet mighty in its presence, casting its silver glow upon the land below. Then he remembered the teachings of old, the stories of the heavens, and he spake within himself, saying, Behold, this is King, the once mighty servant of Tiamat, now a wanderer bound to the earth. Once was it the chief among the hosts of the sky, yet now it lingers as a pale sentinel, a companion to this world of life and waters. And he waited eagerly for the light of the dawn, for the night was long, and his thoughts were restless. When the sun arose in its splendour, he went forth without delay, and he came unto the waters of the marsh, where the life of the land was abundant. He took from his vessel the instruments of wisdom, and he set them upon the waters, so that they might reveal the secrets hidden within. And lo, when the measure was taken, his heart leapt within him, for the waters bore the sign he had long sought, gold. And he lifted his hands to the heavens, crying aloud, The treasure is found. The salvation of Nibiru is within my grasp. Then with great haste he returned unto his vessel, and he prepared the instruments of communication, that he might send word unto the rulers of Nibiru. And he spake through the void, saying, Hear me, O lords of Nibiru. The fate of our world is in my hands. I have found the gold that shall restore our breath and mend the wounds of the sky. Let my name be remembered, for I am Alulu, the first upon this world, the one who has laid claim to the salvation of Nibiru. He awaited the answer from the heavens, his heart filled with triumph, for he had fulfilled the purpose of his journey, and he lifted his voice once more unto the heavens, speaking with great command, saying, Hear me, O Anu, king upon the throne of Nibiru. It was I who first beheld the peril of our world. It was I who braved the void and crossed the hammered bracelet. It was I who found the gold that shall save our people. By right of my deed I demand my reward. Let the throne of Nibiru be restored unto me, for none among you have done what I have done. And he warned Anu, saying, Heed my words, O king, lest you invite ruin upon yourself, for I alone hold the fate of Nibiru in my hands. And there was great silence upon the line of the heavens, for the rulers of Nibiru pondered the weight of his words. Now Alulu had long been at strife with Anu, for Anu had taken from him the throne, and bitter was the rivalry between them. Yet even in their division, the blood of their houses was mingled, for Alulu's daughter had been given in union to Enki, the firstborn son of Anu. And this was done in days past, that peace might dwell between them, that the feud be set aside, as was done among the kings of old. But though the bond of kinship had been forged, the fire of their contention was not quenched, and the struggle for power yet smouldered between them. And now Alulu, standing upon the soil of a distant world, held in his hand a claim greater than any before him, for he alone had found that which Nibiru needed to survive. And he spake, saying, "Let it be known that I am not a mere wanderer upon the stars, but the true ruler of Nibiru, and let the throne be given back unto me." The lords and the sages gathered before Anu the king, and they marveled, saying, "How can this be? How has Alulu, the exiled one, found the treasure that all our might could not uncover? How has he crossed the hammered bracelet unscathed when the mighty chariots of Nibiru were struck down in their course?" And Anu, hearing these words, set his gaze upon the heavens, pondering the claim of his fallen rival. Alulu spoke once more, saying, "By my own hand have I done this thing. With the weapons of terror I smote the raging stones, and they gave way before me. The fire of destruction cleared my path, and I alone have triumphed where all others have failed." Enlil, the son of Anu, mighty in wisdom and command, arose and spake unto the council, saying, "Shall we take the words of Alulu as truth without proof? Shall we yield the throne to him without witness? Let there be an on-site verification. Let the claim be tested, lest we be deceived by the words of an exiled king." And the council hearkened unto the words of Enlil, and they spake among themselves, saying, "Wisdom is in his words. Let one go forth and see if the gold of the earth is as Alulu has declared." Then did Anu turn to his firstborn son, Enki, the one who was wise in the ways of the waters and the land, saying, "You shall go forth upon the great journey. Take with you 50 mighty ones, and a chariot of strength, and set your course unto the world, where Alulu dwells. Search the waters, test the soil, and if the gold be found, bring it forth unto Nibiru, that our sky may be restored." And Enki, the firstborn, bowed before his father, and made ready for the journey, for he was skilled in the knowledge of the deep and the mysteries of creation.
Subscribe, like and share. Episode 2 coming soon.